I stopped working so that I could finish this. So I had to really just pray and lean on God. And I said, you know what, Lord, if this is how it's going to go, we're going to push through. Just carry me through. And I know it was God that carried me through, because regulations, I hate tax. I will put it out there. I don't like tax. I'm not a tax person.
Mm-hmm.
I will learn it for myself and to know how to, take advantage of the tax laws, but to actually work in tax, it's not my thing. I don't have the desire to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So regulations, studying it was a pain. And I also got a tutor. I used a different program for regulations, because from audit, I learned. I was like, okay, well, if you want to pass this, get a tutor. Just do what works for you.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. I got a tutor and I passed it with I don't remember my score. I think I got a 75, the perfect score.
Wow. So just one time?
One time. That was it. Yep. And then FAR, and then the whole COVID situation happened. So I studied for regulations December 2019. I stopped working, I think November 2019, studied it, and then I took the exam January 2019, my mistake. Took a 2019 regulations and then found out I passed in February, and I was like, okay, let me keep going. Mind you, at this time, my 18 months was up in February. So the BEC credit that I got in 2018 expired February 2019. So you can imagine I was trying to get everything in before the credit expired.
Right. That's what I was thinking. I was trying to do the math in the months. I was like, if you just got through this process, I've lost a
year. Yeah. 2019 was all audit. Audit took me the whole year to pass. And I was just like, okay, I guess I'm going to have to take BEC. But something in me, I don't know, it wasn't realistic. And that's the other thing, like, you have to be really realistic and just be kind to yourself in this process. I know, there's that narrative of, you start it, you finish it strong. And most people you hear from tell you they take it in 4 months and they passed it. I studied for 3 weeks and I passed 4 sections. And I'm like, well, that's not everybody's story, So you just have to be kind to yourself, know yourself, trust that once you start this process, you will finish it. It might be challenging. It might not be like anybody else's story, but keep going and you will complete it. So yeah, I forfeited a credit and I had to retake BEC again.
Woo! You're torturing yourself.
Yeah. It wasn't on purpose, but it really felt like it felt like torture. I just was like, why are you doing this, Moya? But the corona happened, so everything literally shut down.
Okay.
And so moving back to Maryland mid-corona, trying to study to get BEC credit back while also studying for FAR, because I had started studying for FAR right after regulations. And then my score expired and I was like, oh no, I have to go back to BEC. Mind you, I hadn't looked at the material for a year and a half, so I didn't remember anything, to be honest. So it was almost like starting over again.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And took it, thankfully the COVID happened. I mean, it's not a good thing as far as the impact it's had on people and lives have been lost. But I think the silver lining in all of this, and I believe that, if you're willing to look at the positive side of things, it's a blessing in disguise as well. It's the year where it helps you reset. And for me, it helped me focus and just hone in on this. And so took BEC, passed it, praise Jesus. And that was done. I was like, okay, I can focus on FAR now. FAR is it.
Here we go.
And yes, let's do this. This is the finish line. But I will not lie to you. And I don't know if you felt this. Did you feel tired towards the end? Did you feel you know what? There's one more, but it's just so hard for me to just keep going, but I gotta keep pushing. It was almost like
I was mentally exhausted. But because I had started with FAR and then I ended with FAR, so I never could pass it. So I just put it down and passed the other parts, all the while retaking FAR all along. But on the end, I was either gonna lose credit or I was going to be done. I was making 50% or 100%. Something had to give.
Ooh.
It was up in the air when I looked.
You were just like, you know what?
It was like, here we go. This is it, Lord.
Yeah, help me.
What's going to happen?
Oh my gosh.
I was drained because for me, it was a 4-year process.
Wow.
I was out of it.
Yeah. It's mentally exhausting.
I completely understand.
Congratulations, though. You got it. And see, you are licensed now.
Yes, so join the club. You in. I I know we didn't mention this, but now you're getting ready for the ethics exam. We'll get
Yes.
to, but that part is forever behind you. You never have to deal with
Never
that.
have to do it again. It is
But
my testimony now.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. Like I say it every time. Like when people ask me about it, I'm like, this journey wasn't only to get the letters, it wasn't to get the license, but it's also to, you learn a lot about yourself and you learn a lot about people as well. I realized that anyone on this journey definitely needs the support. And so my goal is to be able to provide that support to people now, because I knew I needed it at a point in time. And it's so important. Just sharing your story and being genuine and honest and helping people understand that that pressure that you place on yourself is not necessary. Like, you will do this. Just commit to it and push through, and you do it. You do it. It's doable.
So now that you passed, did you make a conscientious effort to quit your job and not pursue another job or opportunity until you actually passed all four? You knew you were not going to jump back into the workforce until
So
you say COVID happened. So
exactly. So imagine though, it was scary. Imagine like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna decide I'm gonna quit my job. I'm gonna finish the CPA exam, pass it. That was my goal. My goal was to not go back into the workforce until I finished and passed.
Okay.
So imagine that added pressure. Like, what if you fail this again? Because it's always in the back of your head. Like, you remember you failed 3 times before. What if this is the next time you fail again? And it just like, are you going to be out of work forever? Like, are you going to be the burden on your family? It was just a lot. The devil is a lie. But yeah, he really tried it. But you know what? I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. So that's that. So God brought me through. And so yeah. Now that I'm finished, I was looking toward the end. I wasn't looking. I take that back. It happened that I got connected to a firm. So I was working for Rubber Half for like in August, an opportunity. They just called me and they were like, hey, are you willing to check this out and work temporarily? I'm like, if it's temporary, I decide my hours. Heads up, I'm studying for a CPA exam right now. My goal is not to work full-time. So if you need someone full-time, I'm not your girl. But if you can work with me, I'm willing to work with you. And so it was a perfect opportunity. And the way it happened, again, I knew it was God. Like he orders your steps. When you just trust him,
amen, every time.
Your steps. I'm telling you.
Because the opportunity came to you.
Yes, it did. And so now they're having a conversation about, okay, now that you've passed, because I was very transparent, I was very honest. I said, I don't want to consider anything until I'm done with my exam. And so I shared the great news when I found out that I passed FAR in November. Yeah, like right before Thanksgiving, I was like, I passed. And so they were like, okay, are you considering working with us full time? So now, yeah, so that's my testimony is like recently, I think like 2 weeks ago was when that conversation started. So I'm looking to start full time in, I think, is it next week or the new year? Yes.
Wow, congratulations
on that. Thank
you. New job.
Yes.
Oh, that is great.
Honestly, and I just want to encourage people, like, if the decision is hard, pray about it and trust that God will see you through. Because I think I had like an emotional breakdown at one point, because I was just like, what if I never get a job? COVID happened, people are unemployed, nobody's hiring right now. There's like the hiring freeze at some point. I freaked out. I was like, I might never get a job. This was like the worst decision ever. But when you trust God, he will make it happen for you. And that's literally the testimony, because
he will provide. The opportunity came right to your doorstep.
All right, in the nick of time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that is great. So although this is will be, I guess, the first job, a new job after passing, but when you were working with that other firm or company that had supported you and was willing to reimburse you, were you promised or had the impression that you would be promoted if you had CPA behind your name, or were you already making decent, whatever decent is?
Whatever. I was about to say, like, I never know what decent is, because the goal is to be million and billionaires. But no, that conversation never happened. So it was the conversation never came up. But if I remember correctly, it was more so a personal decision to pursue the CPA license. So there was never a conversation about, oh, when you get the CPA license, they will promote you or you're going to get higher pay or anything like that. I think if anything would have happened that way, I would have had to bring it up. And said, hey, now that I have my license, I would like to revisit my, my pay, my role, my position, my responsibilities, and stuff like that. So no, it was never promised to me personally that, if you were to get this, we will promote you. No. And then decent money. I mean, I don't think I was making decent money, but I guess as far as the market is concerned, like the job market is what we compare to, right? It was okay. It wasn't like at the level that I knew I could be compensated. And that was another thing, that just was like, you know what, just persevere, stick it through. And did the money influence my pursuit of the CPA license? No. Again, because I knew when I decided, okay, I will take this, it was more of an assignment than it was a goal to get it so I could say I have it. And I'm still trying to figure out, okay, what's next? Like, now that I have this license, what am I doing with it? I mean, I started to take form and take shape, but yeah, there wasn't any money attached to the accomplishment. No.
So now that you passed and this new opportunity is presented,
yes, you
were
best
you able to
believe.
negotiate? Has that come into play this time?
Yes, I was. I think, honestly, that it's the other way around. I think it influenced their offer to me.
Okay.
So again, I wasn't really looking for a full-time opportunity because I just was like, let me pass it. But once I shared that I passed it, I think that was the Kickstarter to them starting the conversation with me to say, hey, we know you passed your CPA exam. We understand your experience. You have your master's and all that. So we'll work on the compensation and see if it's something that you are willing to take. And I'm sitting here like, hold up, I don't have a job. I'm the one should be saying whatever you can give me, I will take. So I mean, it left me in awe, really in awe, and I'm grateful. I'm really grateful for the opportunity. So, but I believe that the accomplishment, like passing the exam, kickstarted that conversation. I believe so.
Right.
They didn't tell me, but I believe.
Because you've been working part-time or your own hours for a while, which is great, being able to call your own shots. So are you?
Yes, it felt good. I almost didn't want to leave it.
Right. As you say, as you're trying to determine which direction to go in, what path to take, do you think you go back into corporate America working full-time, or maybe start your own firm or go in a different direction?
Yeah. It was, I do know that I will start my own firm, but the thing is, the services that my firm will provide, I mean, yes, it would be the technical, but I'm a people person. I enjoy helping people and empowering people and encouraging people, which is kind of what just speaks to me about your channel. Honestly, it spoke to my heart, and I was just like, oh my God, she is sharing her story and just really being a light to people who are in dark places, because I was in a dark place when I found your channel. I left far feeling like I failed. I just needed encouragement, and I came upon your channel. And so that's one thing I love about what you do. And it's why I gravitated towards your channel. So yeah, I love encouraging people and supporting people. And so my thing is, I feel like my firm will have that support aspect to it for CPA candidates in the future. So it's still taking shape. I don't really know which direction it'll go in yet, but yeah, I didn't know if I was gonna.
Right, and your story is doing the same thing, encouraging people and motivating those who are already in the midst of it to continue and know that there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, I really do hope that my story encourages somebody, even if it's one person. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you for allowing me to share it on your channel. Honestly,
of course, I appreciate you saying yes. Be featured and distinguished on the channel now. I am so proud of you. That is awesome.
Thank you so much, Jackie. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So you got a new opportunity on the horizon.
Yeah, I'm nervous. I'm not gonna lie, because I wanted to ease my way back into it, but it happened and the opportunity presented itself, and what's the worst that could happen? So I'm excited.
So I know next is passing the ethics exam, being in the state you're in, and your work experience before you actually license.
Yep. So Maryland, the way Maryland is set up is you can take the exam right after college or while you're working, however you want to do it. And they provide the opportunity to get your experience either before or after the exam. So I passed the 4 parts for the uniform exam. Next is the ethics exam, which I have to do that in Maryland. It's a requirement. So we go to the AICPA website, we get the I think it's like a booklet online, and you study it, and it's very similar to the ethics and professional responsibilities that you will see in the audit section for anyone who's in Maryland or in a state where you will be required to take the ethics exam. In Georgia, do you have to take it?
No.
No. Oh,
No, you don't.
yeah.
So
I should
how
switch.
much is that, an added cost or a certain
Yes.
time frame that you must complete that?
So it is an added cost. I purchased it during Black Friday because I don't pay full price for nothing. So it cost me $99, but the actual cost on the AICPA website at this time, 2020, as we record this, is $150, I believe, for non-AICPA members. If you're a member, I think it's like 140 or 120, sorry, 130 or 140, around that. So I bought it Black Friday because I knew I would need to take the exams. I kind of gauged it, and I was like, all right, I'm not paying full price for this. So I paid about $100 and that, and then you have a year. Excuse me, it expires within a year. So if you were to buy it now, you have a year to take it. And I watched some YouTube videos because there's really no guidance on the AICPA, to be honest, on what to expect. So the exam, what someone said was that you have 3 tries on the exam. It's at home. You don't have to go into any prometric centers. Yep. So you take it online. Yep. So I think, I'm not sure if it's open book or not. I mean, I think it probably is because you're home. So, but you have to get a 90. Yes, that's what I forgot to mention. You must get a 90 on it to pass. So if you get less than a 90, you would have to take it again. And I think after the 3 tries, you have to repurchase another package and so forth.
Okay, so
Yeah.
how studying for that? Is it anything on the level of this
No,
exam, or is it
absolutely not. Number one, there is no time limit. Like, you can take it within a year. It's a whole year for one exam, not 4. Just one section, and it's a part of one of the major sections, like audit. It's literally a portion of audit. So studying for it, what I've been doing is I just take 2 hours a day, and I just pull it up on my laptop and read through it, go over it. They do have knowledge checks as well to help you along the way. So it checks your knowledge to make sure that you're understanding or comprehending the material. And then at the end, I think it's about 8 sections. At the end of the 8 sections, and there's subsections within the sections, because of course it can't be that easy. They got to make it complicated for whatever reason.
Right.
So after the 8 sections, then you take the exam. Yeah. So I think
that should be a breeze.
It should be a breeze.
What you just accomplished, right? So that's good.
Yeah, I'm hoping. And once that's done, I can breathe. And then the whole CPE, 80 hours over 2 years, depending on your chapter and all that. And yeah.
Jump right back into studying webinars.
It never ends though. That's the lie they tell you in school. Like, you think when you graduate, you're done. Nah, you're just getting started.
Right, lifelong learner.
Yeah, there you go. I heard someone say, like, when you stop learning, you're dead, literally. So the moment you stop learning,
that's for sure. If you look out.
Yeah, because it's ever changing. And for me, I mean, to be honest, I didn't understand that until I started this journey in this process. I felt like, once I'm done with school, that's it, just do your job. But going through the CPA journey, I realized that you're always going to be learning something, because things are ever changing. The landscape of the job itself is changing. The industry is changing. The industries you're supporting as an accountant, so they're changing as well. So it's inevitable. You just gotta keep studying.
Well, welcome to the profession.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now,
yeah.
Thank you, expert. So, where do you see yourself? What do you think you want to do?
So as far as like the industry that I would like to focus on, honestly, for me, it's financial literacy is like a big thing for me right now, especially for younger people. I've been in a situation where I graduated from college and I had no idea what to expect. I just knew I was going to make money, and that was it. So for me right now,
that was the whole point going to college, right?
Right? To make money. And then you come out and you're like, oh, wait a minute. No, I got to make money to pay bills. And then I need to make extra to actually live the life that I envisioned in my head. Okay.
All right. Let me tell you that part.
So I would like to get more exposure to like financial literacy, maybe providing education. Personal financial planning is really what I'm going to look into. And then also like supporting small businesses. Right now I work with like some nonprofits. I'm trying to get more. understanding of how that works, because that's a little different world from corporate accounting. So I might end up in nonprofit. I don't know, but right now that's where I'm in, because I try to support my church as well, like to help.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm learning now, and talking with people and other CPAs who've been in the game for years, like you. So that's what I'm looking at. But my goal, where I envision myself, is really providing education to many other people, not just young people, older people, whoever needs it, because I feel like we don't have enough resources out there. And then people like us, like Black people, we do not have the resources available to us, or maybe we do, we just don't know it because we're not told about it. So I feel like if you know something, share it. You know, there's always that term, lifting as we climb. I'm a part of NABA, so yes.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I really believe strongly in that. Like, whatever I have access to, the resources I have, I want to provide to other people. So my goal is to provide that education with this license, and then whatever else happens, because any opportunity. I mean, at this point, I heard that it's a key that opens many doors. So
It does. You'll be
really,
presented with, do I go left, right, up, down, stop, look around, stay there for a minute? Yeah, which is great. That was the whole
good.
point of going through this, to have
Yeah.
give you access and have options.
And how have you been enjoying your journey? Because we've talked about me. How have
This,
you been your journey?
this is all about you. So yeah, so
I'm trying to throw back to, like, I'm not,
people have tuned in to hear about you, hear your perspective. So,
Yeah.
but we can talk about that toward the end, or I've recorded some. But I will say, y'all want to focus on what's in your future, and also your thoughts on how we can close the gap on this huge highway that's in between other groups, white people, minority groups besides Black people. How can we increase the number of Black CPAs? What are your thoughts?
I didn't realize, I will be honest, I did not realize the huge margin until after I found out that I passed the exam. To be honest, you would think I would have done the research, like, percentage of Black CPAs. I didn't do any of that because I was just more focused on, let me just pass this first. Because I didn't want that added pressure, like, this is the elite, So after I passed, I started doing research, and it really surprised me to see that literally less than 1%. Is that the statistic now?
Right. Because there's no number, so they say less than 1%, because there is
insane.
0.00. I think it's 0.7%.
Oh, wow.
To be accurate. It's an estimated 5,000 of 650,000 CPAs in the U.S.
Wow. So, from my perspective, I know that we have like organizations, like I said, NABA, National Association of Black Accountants, that encourages accountants, people in an industry, Black accountants, to come together and really like help one another and provide each other with an environment where we can talk and encourage each other. Right. That's one way. And but I feel like it really goes back to the basics, the beginning in schools, not just HBCUs. HBCUs are amazing. I went to an HBCU.
Morgan State HBCU?
Yes. Morgan State University is an HBCU. And so I appreciate my experience there. It does start there. My program was amazing. What we did was, the business school had people come in from different companies, CEOs, CFOs, and we had, like, every Wednesday we would dress up in our suits. We would have a seminar. We hated it back then, but in retrospect, in hindsight, it was very useful because it prepared us to be comfortable in an environment that is predominantly white. It really encouraged us to be able to hold our ground and stand our ground and be able to own our own in these rooms, in these boardrooms. So it goes back there, like preparing young people, preparing Black young people to want to get into this industry. It is tough. It's hard because when you look around, you don't see people like you in the same room. It still affects me sometimes. Like, I don't realize it until subconsciously I'm like, oh, another Black person. And then I have to stop myself, like, wait a minute. Wow, this is real. Like, this is really happening. So how we can bridge that gap is, let's go back to the schools and keep encouraging, young people come into this industry. 1, 2, the companies, the corporations need to do a better job with hiring. Okay. Yeah, because you can't just have one quota. And I think that's why the whole diversity and inclusion conversation is so big now, considering the sensitivity to Black Lives Matter, what has happened over the course of this year alone. I feel like the AICPA, the NASBAs, these organizations have to buckle down deeper to encourage more colored minority participation. We ourselves within the organizations as well, we also have to kind of buckle down and say, all right, well, what can we do? How can we approach this and commit to it? It's not going to be easy. And I know it's easier said than done. It's not going to be easy because it's going to be challenging. But what are we as a people going to do within these organizations, like CPAs now, for example? We are members of the AICPA. How are we influencing the processes that currently exist? You know, who can we talk to? Are there people in leadership positions within these organizations that look like us that we can actually relate with? I think there's this other organization that I ran into, and I cannot remember the name right now, but it's brand new. And it's specifically
National Society Black CPA, that
yeah,
one?
I think that's it.
National Society of
Yep, that's
yeah, they brand new since I think this summer.
summer, right.
For this organization, I've heard about it.
There you go. Yeah. So I feel like an organization like that, if we really do commit to it and not just have the name just to have it, but I stand strongly behind what they're for. If we as Black CPAs are also committed to an organization like that and we contribute, that's also a starting point. But it's to really encourage people. I know part of the reason why I did not want to take the CPA again is because of the sacrifices and what it looked like. The stories I heard, they were horror stories. And and the reason that I chose to also share my story is to kind of change the narrative. Like, it will require sacrifice from you, but it's for your own good. And it's also to help the general public, because that's why we are CPAs, right? Is to help the general public. The general public is our responsibility now. Like, we are accountable to the public now. So it goes beyond you. And the moment you can look past that and cry it out, you know, the breakdown might happen, all those things, it's part of the process. But be okay with the failure. Be okay with the challenges, to then look past it and say, I'm going to push through, because my goal is not just to be able to say I have my CPA. It's really to help other people. When that becomes your focus and your intent, I feel like that there's some kind of strength that comes. And then, of course, in prayer, God helps us through it. So it's to change the narrative. Like, when you go on YouTube, you Google stuff, more likely is, not to say, but a non-colored person telling you about the experiences as a CPA. So those of us who are colored, we have to talk more about it, so that way we presenting ourselves. The representation matters. If I don't see someone like me in it, which is how I found you. I literally Googled, I couldn't believe it. I was like, Black CPA in YouTube. Because I was like, no, like, I don't want to, I'm not, no offense to anyone who isn't Black, but there's something about identifying with someone who looks like you.
Exactly.
As much as we want to, it's not a racist thing. It's just to say that I identify more with someone who looks like me, So as with anything, when you're going on a job interview, it's the same thing. You want to make sure there's that connection. So if we as Black CPAs, my point is, if we as Black CPAs can share our stories more and be at the forefront of the narrative, I feel like we can pull more people into this fold and hopefully eventually bridge the gap. Now, the question is, what has happened in the past to bridge the gap to now, and how can we improve on that?
Right. How can we make some progress?
How can we make some progress? Yeah.
And I think
yeah. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
And I was going to say, it probably requires us stepping from behind the curtains, because like we started the conversation saying both of us are usually low key, but this is our attempt to come from behind the scenes and let you know we exist. So
yeah,
what you're talking about, we have to let people know we exist.
Yeah,
we are in the room.
We have to.
And you spoke to being underrepresented, or you may be the only Black in the room. When was the first time you met a Black CPA?
So for me, I have friends and family members or family friends who are CPAs. But the first time I met a Black CPA, if I can remember well, it was a guy, he's older. He's kind of like my mentor now. Was 2000, what year are we in, 2020? 2008 was when I met, the first time I met a Black CPA. Now, keep in mind, going to Morgan, you hear, take the CPA, take the CPA, but I never really could identify, like, you are a CPA and you look like me. It wasn't until
HBCU.
right, even at an HBCU. Surprising, right?
Right.
So, I think, yeah, 2008, and it's 2008 because for two reasons. One, my accounting professor, principal's one accounting professor, he was a CPA. He was Black. So yes,
Okay.
that was my first time meeting a Black CPA. And then around the same time, I met my now mentor, who is much older, and he's also a Black CPA. So yeah, it wasn't even a female. The first few CPAs that I met, actually, all the CPAs I know right now, besides you, who I just met, were all guys.
Really?
They're all
So
guys,
even
yeah.
female, if we unpack it or
If we
split
unpack
out
that
the
too,
number of Black
yeah,
CPAs, male and female,
yeah, I feel like there's a huge
ratio
disparity
for
there.
females will be low.
Mm-hmm. I feel so. Yeah. Now it literally just dawned on me, like, yeah, all the CPAs that I knew who were Black, that I know, yeah, were,
Which is highly unusual, I'll say, for you, since you said you have some even in your family. So
yeah, guys, my friends,
that's unusual.
yeah, they're guys. So I didn't, I mean, the only ones I could see would probably be online on LinkedIn, but personally that I knew, there weren't any women. So it's so interesting because when I shared with my friends that I passed the exam, and she was like, you're the first female CPA, Black CPA that I know. I laughed it off, and it didn't dawn on me until just now. We're just talking about it, like, wait a minute, this is true. So yeah, we even as women, we do have a huge disparity gap to fill.
Right. So we've got to lay some trails. There's an open lane here.
Yeah, it's
So you're trying to figure out what direction to go, what path to take.
mm-hmm.
The world is yours, as you can see.
It really is. It's so interesting because it shifts your paradigm, like your thoughts. It really does when you are in this space now. I couldn't have imagined that this right now presently is where I would be while I was going through the process. I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't see it. I just cared to pass. But now coming out of it, it's like, wow, there's so much room. Like there are so many opportunities out there. And it's not until recently that I started like looking online, female CPAs, Black CPAs, LinkedIn. I'm like, oh, she's a CPA. Oh, she's a CPA. But it shouldn't be that way. So I think my point is now we need to put ourselves out there. Come from behind the curtain, like you said.
A little bit, right.
Just a little bit, and, encourage other people. So.
Right. Well, thank you for sharing your story. This is
Thank
definitely
you.
going to inspire and motivate those who are in the midst of it or thinking about it.
So. Yeah, I hope so.
Options. This is a perfect example of how coming out on the other side, what it looks like, and have it access and options.
Yeah. I'm excited though. I'm excited to see how this all plays out.
How it unfolds.
Yeah.
Before I wrap up, and you hit on it, going through this in the midst of COVID, you were able, and pandemic, being unemployed, even though that was by choice, but having that pressure and stress about the future and it being unknown, considering the pandemic, and you were able to be successful.
Yes. I thank God. I'm trying to think like how was it? Honestly, some days where I was just cruising. I was just like, we're cruising. But then there were other days where I had to be intentional and remind myself my goal again. Why am I doing this again? Like, why did you stop working? To focus on the CPA exam. Okay, why are you taking the CPA exam? To get my CPA license. Why do you want the CPA license? Because I know this is something that I need to do at this point in my life right now. So it's a challenge. You have to kind of like almost block out the outside world, which I did. I really did. And that's what worked for me. I know some people needed the social interaction to be able to focus. I'm a people person. So for me, I had to kind of pull back a little bit. Like, okay, I can't be there for everyone at all times. And it was really, really hard. I felt like a bad friend and daughter for a while, but I had to kind of understand, like, you know what? They understand. Your family understands what you're doing, and your friends understand what you're doing. If there's somebody who doesn't understand it, then maybe they just don't need to be in your life right now. But you have to kind of block out the noise. I call it noise, to say, okay, yeah, you're unemployed right now. It's COVID. What if you don't get a job? But all those things, what can you do, to help yourself do that? You can't do anything.
Great.
So,
well, I'm glad you spoke to that, because I know I'm in this part of the study group trying to encourage those who are going through this process and studying for the CPA exam. So I'm definitely going to direct them to this interview and what you're saying.
Yes.
Be concentrating and focusing on the
Concentrate,
goal and taking
focus.
a step back. And
Mhm.
sacrifice will pay off.
It will pay off. It
I'm glad
will pay off.
I'm glad
It will. I didn't believe when people told me. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, yeah, you're just saying that just to encourage me. No, but I'm on the other side now, and I'm telling you, it will pay off. And I haven't even gotten my license yet. So if I'm saying it will pay off from right now, I know that there's just it's only up from here by the grace of God.
at a time.
Yeah.
You've done the hard part.
Mhm.
Put in the work and the sacrifice.
Yeah. So to anybody watching this, if you're on a journey right now, I just want to let you know you got it. You can do it. You know enough. Don't doubt yourself, because there will be times where you will feel like you don't know what you're doing. But I just want to encourage you, keep going. You will
That's
come
it.
on top.
So this final question, since you're almost there, just one, I guess, formality with the ethics exam, and now you start accumulating your work experience. What will having CPA behind your name, Oluyinka? I'm gonna try the whole name, but
Yeah.
CPA, what will that mean to you?
That's a loaded question. What it would mean to me is several things. One is that I was able to persevere. It is something that I learned in this process. I didn't know that there was strength in me like this. Didn't know. So that's one thing that it would mean, is that you are strong and you did what you committed to. It's commitment to me, and perseverance. Two, it would just I don't know. Like, as far as like the professional part of it, I have not. It sounds so strange that I have not thought about that. But I
You
think
will be one of a few, or one and only.
you do, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe then I might feel like a superhero. No, I'm just kidding.
You should, or people will make you feel that way.
Make
So
me
might
feel
as
like
well
a
grab your
superhero.
cape and wear it. And
Yeah, right.
you are an expert.
That's on my chest. But it's a scary thought. That word expert scares me, and I don't know why. I mean, because it just seems like fresh air. You know everything, but I think the reality is once you accept that you do not know everything, and you're okay with sharing that, like, no, I don't know everything, but I have some knowledge that I can bank on and build on. Because honestly, a CPA is completely different from an accountant. I will say that, and this is why. Going through this process, studying, taking the exam, you are exposed to so much more information than somebody who, I mean, I hate to say it, but someone who's on the ground just working. There's so much more that you've learned. You've gotten a skill set. You can research now. You know what guidelines to look at. You know how to hone in on a specific situation. You don't learn that in school. This is something you learn in this process. I think someone said that the CPA exam is like the equivalent of a master's. You literally have a master's in this stuff now. So yeah, like the expert word scares me, but I'm coming to terms with it, to just say no. What it means is really just like you are the go-to person when people have questions, and then you actually do have the skill set to be able to answer that question. It might require some research. You're not perfect,
Right.
but you have more skill set to kind of hone in on that problem and be able to provide a solution. So what that means to me is I can answer questions, and having that CPA behind my name, I don't know. I remain humble, so I'm just gonna be a regular schmegular girl, just like, oh yeah, I do have a CPA. You're right.
I'm gonna tell you, no, you're not. No, you ain't no more. Go to step out there and welcome to the club. I'll lift you up. I will. The rest of us in the profession definitely will, because we know how hard you worked.
Yes,
we know the commitment you put in, the sacrifice you made.
Thank you.
So you definitely have. We will shine a light on you.
Yes.
Back.
Thank you.
Definitely. So you don't have to do it.
I don't even. I can't hide, huh? That's
right. So
you're just gonna have to put yourself out there.
You can be as humble as you want to be, but we'll definitely ring the bell for you.
Yay!
Oh yeah, I got it.
I believe you have a bell. Oh my God, I like it though. I like it. Like, let it be known.
Hey, we are welcoming another person into the profession. We trying to less than 1% situation we got.
It's unreal, really unreal. I think for a while I was very quiet because I I just felt like I didn't understand. It wasn't clicking. You know, like it just didn't click. I'm just like, wait, what? After all of this, I find out that really we're less than 1%. Wow, so it's even much more of a big deal than I expected it to be.
Yes.
You know, so I'm getting accustomed to it. I can't say
congratulations. You hang around me long enough. Although I will say people around me probably won't even know I'm a CPA, but I definitely love to highlight and spotlight other Black CPAs.
It's an accomplishment, you know. It is an accomplishment, and it's okay to talk about it.
Right.
It takes something getting used to, but yeah, like I recently just got a mentor. She's also a CPA and she's Black, so we connected very recently during this whole process of like passing and all of that. So I'm glad that I have women like you who are in the profession, who have the license, look like me. So I'm blessed and I'm so happy because I think it's making me more at ease with the process, to be honest.
I can breathe now.
I can breathe now, like, oh, okay, I'm not a unicorn. I'm a part of a unicorn group.
Oh, great. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you
for
so
having
much
me.
for sharing your insight.
Yeah.
It's
always fun chatting, and thank you for helping me tell my story.
You're right.
Yeah.
Positivity and optimism is great. I'm looking forward to
always like that.
Hearing about your new career, new job, and what the future holds. So the sky's the limit now.
Yeah.
So, thank you for saying yes, for sitting down and sharing your experience. Thank you for being my unique guest today, since you are in between being featured and distinguished. So you can be my unique guest today. So thank you, Moyo.
I hope there are many more. I hope there are many more.
Yes, I do too. Definitely after watching your interview, we'll have some inspired students out there, CPA candidates who will push through no matter what's going on. Yes. Thank you for being with me and sharing your experience. I wish you all the best. And for those out there in cyberspace, YouTube world, hang in there. The best is yet to come. And remember who you are and whose you are. And there's no time like the present.